Pod.
Rugby pod.
Hello, everyone.
What a day. What a few days.
Am I bothered, though? I'm going to go full Jim Hamilton like he did last week. Am I bothered? I am bothered. I am bothered.
Well, I am bothered now. I am bothered now. My goodness me. I am smiling from ear to ear.
Of course you are. We're going to talk about Scotland dominating England up at Murrayfield in the Calcutta Cup. Razzie was right as well. Italy are a proper team.
Yeah, he was right.
They didn't get the win, but they pushed Ireland all the way, and the French machine keeps on rolling with an 8-try, 50 victory over battered and bruised Wales. Biggs, I've never seen depression like it in my life.
So settle back, enjoy, and make sure you're subscribed on Spotify. This episode is brought to you by Honda. Picking a car is like picking a teammate, and there's a Honda for every kind of player. There's the classic Civic, SUVs for bringing your kit, and the compact Jazz for daily runarounds. Plus, the sporty Prelude on the horizon, bringing the power off-pitch. There are EV options, hybrid options, plus safety features like adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist as standard. Classic Honda reliability and peace of mind. Visit your local Honda retailer to discover the range and book a test drive. Come on then, Jim. Let's have it. How was the Super Bowl parade victory on Saturday night?
Well, I didn't go out for the victory. I went home.
Why?
Because I didn't need to. Been there, done it.
No, you haven't. You've never been in England.
I've been there as a fan and done it. And maybe you can tell me. I am buzzing. Lads, you were there. Biggs, how good is Edinburgh? My mates who've never been before, it was amazing, right?
That was my first experience as a non-player there, which was a bit nicer because as a player it wasn't overly enjoyable.
Creaky stadium.
Yeah.
It needs a bit of work.
It kind of adds to it as well, though, doesn't it? I just thought it was...
There's an edge.
It was, the anthem, the build-up, the first 15 minutes where the crowd just got into it. I have to say, it was awesome being there as part of not a playing group, just witnessing it and not really having any skin in the game. It was kind of quite nice to just sit back and watch it.
But Scotland, England, regardless of who you are, and I know that whoever plays England, right, it's always a big game. But the history between them two games, if you haven't been before, and I had a few mates who'd never been to Murrayfield before, they actually couldn't believe the emotion and the feeling around the city. And then you witness what we witnessed from a performance point of view and a physicality point of view. And Finn Russell, as good as we've seen him, I lay in bed and I was like, fuck, I love this sport.
You know what, though, Jim, you were saying about the positive and the atmosphere was amazing, but forget about, from a performer's point of view, that was as good a performance as I've seen for a long time by a team in the Six Nations. And I always think you go look back to 7 out of 9 victories. But
from any team. Do you not watch France yesterday?
Yeah, I watched France, but I just thought they were good in everything they did.
Yeah.
And almost they were good at the non-Scottish things, kick chase, physicality, collisions. I know that the scrum was under a ton of pressure, and that's maybe something we'll get into afterwards. But I just thought it was such an impressive performance from a Scottish team, and probably the most, and you'd be better placed to say, almost the most emphatic scoreline and performance they've had in that fixture, because it's always been quite tight, even though Scotland have been the better team. I thought the scoreline almost flattered England a little bit on Saturday afternoon.
But it was tough. Being an Englishman up there, it was tough. Pre-match, it was easy because you just make a few gags. This could be Gregor's last game. But I said it before, didn't I? Scotland are a quality team, and I was more positive about Scotland than you were, Jim, because I think you've said it in blind hope in recent years. but this year, you actually believed that they're a very good side, and they've always got this performance in them against England. You look at the history over the last 6 years, they've won it 5 times. Should have won it 6 times, actually, because the game at Twickenham last year, as we spoke about, Finn got messed around with the conversion. Tommy Freeman's try was never a try. But this year it was emphatic, and it should be all about Scotland. And the start and the pace and the physicality at the start of the game where they get the 2 tries, and things transpired against England from their own errors, but it was all off the back of how good Scotland were, how good Finn was, how good Rory Darge was, how good Hugh Jones was. All these players had 8 or 9 out of 10 performances and played to their level that they can. the frustrating thing for Scotland fans is it's not every week. It is always against England. Hence, I say that's why you win your cup final, lads.
I was going to ask that to you, Jim. Because I think Scotland are clearly a better team than Wales. Everyone assumes that Scotland
under
will
20s
win.
could beat Wales, I reckon.
So we all assume that Scotland will beat Wales, or heavy favourites for Saturday's game, unless Wales open the roof and say it's broke or something and hope it rains. But if they don't beat France or Ireland, Jim, does Saturday?
Hey, don't worry about that.
No, but what I'm trying to say is because I almost felt, and I think speaking to some people, it was almost more of a frustration that is in them, and you see it every year. And anyone with a pair of eyes in their head can see that against England, the level of performance, physicality, intensity, everything is on another level. So I suppose the question is, if they don't beat France and Ireland, does that England result not matter? Because of course it matters, but in the grand scheme,
I know what you mean.
How important is that result if you don't beat France and Ireland?
It's just Scottish, isn't it?
But you know better than anyone, Biggs, to be a great team, it is about backing up performances, right? Scotland are a good team with great performances in them. And that's all you can go based on, right? Because until we're told otherwise, that's what you see. Now, them great performances, I have seen that England performance there, which was one of their greatest performances.
Agreed.
Forget the win, how you said, out with the scrum, how they played. I've seen that, right? I saw it against New Zealand. I saw it against Argentina. They went 21-0 up against a team that had beaten New Zealand, South Africa, the British and Irish Lions, 21-0 up. And the way they were moving, their collisions, everything about what they did, there's clearly is a mental block somewhere. And I think a lot of that relies around, or is because lack of confidence, how they're brought up through the system and they're not allowed to maybe go off piece, and they are so well coached. And again, I keep saying to you, Biggs, because you've done it, you know that in order to take that next step, it becomes then player-led. The coach can give you all the tools, right? And I've always said I rate Gregor Townsend as a coach. What he's done with that group, some of the wins that he's had, when you look at some of the performances, that is because they're well coached. The next level is emotionally within inside the players and everyone, the psychologists, whoever, the nutritionalists, whatever it is, they all need to get together and they need to go week on week on week on week. But I've been reluctant to say that I think Scotland will win the Six Nations. I know people were like, oh, you thought they were going to win the Six Nations, you were going to do this and they were going to do that.
You said it many times before, James.
Yeah, but I've said it many times before, but the autumn burnt me because I was like, mate, it could have beaten New Zealand, should have beaten New Zealand. The performance was there, but we're not good enough to do that. And the Argentina one is the one that completely burnt me.
Yeah.
You saw that non-game against the USA destroyed them. The non-game against Tonga destroyed them. But the funny thing is, against Italy, if you go back and watch the first 10 minutes, they were moving the same, they were running the same kind of lines, their breakdown, their line-out didn't function, they made a few changes in that. Rob texted before the Italy game, I know we were joking, what did you say? You said they were...
Looked dialed in, yeah.
They looked dialed in. And against England, everything was in front of them, weren't it?
Yeah.
So it's when it's not in front of them and when they've got to go to the depths of, oh man, we could look, have they got the ability then to go on and win that game? They didn't against Italy, but when it gets tough, and it's going to get tough against France, it's going to get tough, obviously, against Ireland, a team that we struggle against. So they don't need me to convince. The nation needs to convince that, but they need to convince themselves. Until they do that, they ain't going to win anything.
Are you trying to get rid of Gregor even after winning the Calcutta Cup?
No.
Okay, good.
No, but I'm with Biggs. Like, it didn't change anything. Like, for me, what it changed was I'm in camp last week doing an interview with Carl Stein.
So you're claiming the victory because you went in camp and rallied the troops?
I am saying I went there and it felt bleak and it felt down. And my point was around how sport, well, we know it can change so quickly. But within that camp and within that team and within that coaching setup, you've got Lee Radford, just to name one.
How good was the defence?
Oh, mate. And so it's there.
And when I make the point on defence, I've got a load of stats from the game. Scotland's tackle completion percentage was 89%.
Yeah.
England's was 78%. And Lee Radford, and we've spoken about him, we've had him on here, haven't we? Friend of the show. The impact he had at Northampton when he went there and now what he's doing with Scotland. It's making you contenders. And you were top for 20 hours. I'll put the table out on my social media channel. Scotland were top. Dream, believe. And obviously France did what they did yesterday. But it was Scotland. You are an out-and-out quality team. Mainly every year just against England and in patches in other games, but that consistency And that 80-minute performance is what frustrates Scotland fans, and they need to find it. And they might find it again against France. They might find it against Ireland. But I still think there are question marks around if you do lose to France and Ireland and beat Wales, what do you do with Gregor?
Chatting to Finn the day before the game, how's it going to go down? Like, how's the feeling? He didn't think it was going to be a high-scoring game. He thought England were going to kick loads.
Which we did.
And they were going to physically try and impose themselves around scrum, which they did. That's a worry for Scotland. And around line-out drive. So, Finn, you were wrong, which is fine, because you were incredible. And
what do you mean he was wrong?
Well, it was a high-scoring game.
Oh, just that, because he was right about everything else.
Yeah,
England
he
did just
thought-
drive it
yeah.
and just scrum it and just kick it.
And then I said, how do you approach it from a confidence point of view, and how are we going to play? And he said, we're going to target the 13 channel. We're going to Tommy Freeman. I was like, oh, really? So, and you saw, and this is where you get a gauge on a team.
Why didn't you tell me that the night before the game when I spoke to you?
I ain't, because you're messaging lads like, he's my best mate, he's my best mate. He had a funny story on Henry Pollock, but it's not for me to share. That for Henry was messaging Finn the week before saying you're having it. Anyway, it's not for me to share that. I just did.
But you just did.
But he was talking about the 13 channel, and it shows where a team are when it comes to how confident they are in their skill set. When early on, they were running it, weren't they? So they could have gone to the Ben White box kick early on. They could have gone to
Ben
the
White
10.
was brilliant, by the way. I thought he was. And he doesn't get anywhere near the credit. I know
English.
I'm a bit biased.
English.
And I played with them and things, but I thought he was amazing in terms of he just didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
And he took a load of pressure off Finn in those sort of the exits. And I thought he was really, really underrated on Saturday.
Did you see the niggle with Freddie Stewart?
Yeah.
2 Leicester skins.
Yeah.
Going at each other after the drop goal charge down, which we'll get to.
But the fact that they had the confidence off the back of last week against Italy to get into that wide channel, and how good was Carlstein? I told you, didn't I?
Well, hey, we've all said how
Yeah,
good he is.
but people
And I've
are
been
like,
commentating
world-class.
on
I know.
URC with Premier Sports
Yeah.
and seeing how good he is. Ridiculous. And you talk about the cohesiveness of the attack, right? That's how Glasgow play, isn't it? You look at the moves where they've got into that 13 channel. There's a couple of bits on it. So from a Scotland perspective, you've obviously got Finn and Ben White. Finn's probably the best ball playing fly half in the world. You've then got Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones playing together, running these shapes regularly for Glasgow. You've got Stein on one wing, Dobie on the other wing, Glasgow again, and they're all running these shapes, and obviously Tom Jordan at fullback. Them targeting Tommy Freeman at 13 is something, obviously, tactically that they've looked at. Tommy Freeman's new into the 13 position at international rugby, and it's the hardest position, I think, on the field to defend. So, yes, he is a world-class player, Tommy Freeman, but he's new into defending at international level at 13. But there's another thing, and Biggs, you'll understand this massively, and I've said it, and it's my first little prod. When Scotland took England to the cleaners from that line-out where Tommy Freeman's bitten in, look how tight England are defensively. From inside George Ford.
Here he goes.
Ford at 10, Dingwall at 12, and then Freeman biting in. They are touching distance to each other, right? And it's all because George Ford is a weak defender. So that makes the 13's job even harder when you've got all these options coming at you and your inside tail gunner, your 10, your 12 are panicking about George Ford's defence. And if you watch the clip back, you watch the way Scotland open England up there, everyone will be like, oh, Tommy Freeman. But the consequence of what Tommy Freeman's done is because his 10 and 12 are so tight and bitten right in. There was 3 defenders and 2 Scotland attackers, and 3 of them just sat down because George Ford can't make a tackle normally. And that then leads into Tommy Freeman biting in to make what looks like a massive defensive error, which it was, but it's a consequence of what's happened before, which is always the facts of line breaks somewhere. Isn't just a consequence of just missing a tackle or something. It's something else has happened elsewhere before as well.
I think we've got to realise that we're having Tommy Freeman. I still stand by Tommy Freeman's a good 13. I think he's a world-class winger.
Yeah.
So I've never really gone with it. I thought he was excellent against Wales because they can use it, but you can use him, bring him off the wing to if you want to use his ability from
My dog could have played
carrying.
against Wales the other way.
but what I'm trying to say is he also played 30 minutes of that game without an open side or without a winger.
Yeah.
So it's not just
but that attack I'm talking about, they
yeah,
had
the
the
winger
winger
there. But what I'm
outside
trying
him.
to say is in terms of Freeman at 13,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I fully go with that he's made that big an error or been sucked in. Scotland have put the ball out there. They've held 10-12, and I think Freeman, if he looks back at that again, will think, well, if they bust through George Ford and he misses a tackle, that's on George Ford. The first one of the game, Dingwall Dingwall went low on Tuipulotu. Ford actually stopped him actually on the gain line. And it looked as if Ford went backwards, but he soaked up and Dingwall's finished the tackle. Now, I know what you're saying, Goody, but there's no way George Ford gets 105 caps if he is, say, the same defensive ability as Sam Prendergast.
George Ford's a great player. I'm not disputing that. And I said it before the game, he's been wonderful for England. But it was a massive game. This was an acid test for England away from home. We've gone on this run of 12 victories. The only 2 games we've won away from home of note were Argentina away, which was a change-up Argentina team. It wasn't their full-loaded team. And they were good wins, but it was under the radar when the Lions were on. Played a load at home. And this is an acid test. The first time since we played Ireland away last year in the Six Nations where we've gone to a proper gaff where there's a team baying for blood. And George Ford went missing that game at times.
So I looked at it, right? I looked at the first 15 minutes of the game. You go 17-0 down in any game, in any test match, it's unlikely you're going to win.
Oh, yeah.
So you've gone 17-0 down. I looked at the errors. First maul they had, they drove it 20 metres.
Yeah.
Alex Mitchell kicks it 5 metres further forward.
Yeah.
They then doubled down.
Whose tactics are these, though?
Well, the team's tactics.
Well, they're Steve
But Steve
Borthwick and
Borthwick
George
hasn't
Ford.
told Alex Mitchell, once the forwards drive 20 metres, just kick it 5 metres up in the air. That kick
Not
needs
5
to
metres,
be...
but it's a poor kick. But
So
that's
that's
the
what I'm
tactics
saying
come from
is-
Steve.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, it's like the tactics Wales. We spoke about Wales last week. Steve Tandy hasn't told Derry Lake not to tap the ball. Steve Tandy hasn't told Dav Jenkins to get in front of the blocker.
Yeah.
So Mitchell's kicked it a poor kick. Then they've slapped it back, and Tuipulotu's booted it up forward. Then they've given 3 points away in front of the sticks from clearly not listening to the referee. The referee's saying release, 3 points. Then they've gone into the free kick at the scrum. So they kicked off, free kick. So that's 4 errors. Then they've gone into the 13 channel, which early doors, they broke down the short side, gone yellow card. Whether we think it's a penalty or not.
Oh, it's a yellow card. As an England fan, it's a yellow card.
So they've gone, that's 5. Then to back that up again, Roebuck has come in unnecessarily and bitten in, and a beautiful flick from Russell, world class. So that's 6. Then they've gone, kicked off again, Cowan-Dickey, no arms tackle, 7.
How many times have I talked about Cowan-Dickey and his no arms?
And then you've gone Freeman, defensive error for the try. So 8 errors in that first 15 minutes. No wonder they were 17-0 down with how accurate Scotland were. And I know what you're saying, Goody, but there's no way that Steve Borthwick has told any of his team do that.
Yeah, no.
So you cannot build a game when you make not just one, you've backed up 8 errors effectively.
Yeah.
And no wonder you're 17-0 down. And in a Calcutta Cup match with the record that Scotland had, the game was, I know it sounds, but the game was almost done in 15 minutes.
The first yellow card, we sort of glossed over it then. England fans are going mad about it. A lot of people are saying, it's just never been a penalty. The first thing referees look for is clear release from a tackler. And they say you have to show your hands getting away from it. And whether Henry Arundel had his hands a millimetre off, he may well have done, had a millimetre, 2 millimetres, 5 centimetres, whatever it is, off the tackled player. The problem was because the ball spills out and he hasn't shown that big hands in the air and then back to the ball, and Amisha Kelly, who I thought was very good, a lot of England fans are saying he was awful. And I'm the first to go after refs, as we know. I thought he had a really good game.
Is that yellow? Was it? How many minutes into the game was that? Though?
Mate,
Less
doesn't
than
matter.
5 minutes?
It doesn't matter.
It's a line break.
You think?
So if he thinks it's a penalty because he hasn't seen a clear release, and he thinks it's an illegal turnover from a line break, it's a yellow card every day of the week. And then obviously the second yellow for Arundel is a yellow card every day of the week as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've been saying for the last few weeks that we're going to see a nasty injury from that. You were literally not far away from that, from being an absolute horror show.
Yeah.
Really. So I know it became a yellow card, then a 20-minute red, so effectively he's been off for 30 minutes for the whole game. But from that in itself, when I'm talking about the clear run, clear line of sight, he's got it so wrong. And he is lucky
Dangerous,
that Kyle Steyn has not done something a lot more serious.
Yeah.
He wasn't injured, but...
You see all the England fans and people saying, well, mate, Kyle Steyn need him in the face first. Just like that. I love the Six Nations, but it brings out, we've been on the train on the way back from Cardiff yesterday, it brings out some people you're like, oh, come on, mate, you just haven't got a clue, have you?
And from where you're sat watching as well.
Yeah.
You made a point there, 30 minutes without a winger. Or 30 minutes with anybody.
In a game like that
in a game like that, it's 17-0 down, 30 minutes without a winger, impossible to win. But if you're going to lose a player against Scotland on a dry day, it would be the last person you'd want to lose as a winger. You'd much rather, against Scotland, especially the way the scrum was going, you'd have much rather lost a second row or a prop, because because the way Scotland plays, the ball goes into the 13 channel more than any other team, with deception, with width, with pace. So if you're going to lose anybody for 30 minutes, you'd rather lose 3 forwards.
Yeah.
In terms of consecutive yellows.
Yeah.
But to lose a winger against that team, as fired up as they were with the tactics that Scotland had, they made it incredibly hard for themselves, England. But like we've said, Scotland were so accurate, so physical, so good, and they were so well deserved for their victory on Saturday.
The 6-2 bench has caught England out as well. And people were saying around, should Finn Smith have been on it, or Marcus Smith? There wasn't much from a Finn Smith perspective, whenever he came on, of being able to flip and play in different positions. You're always going to get caught, and it's a thing that Razzie started 6-2, 7-1. At some point, you're going to get burnt, and that burnt England a little bit. But Scotland were fully deserved of the victory. England, it felt like a performance from back in the dark days under Steve Borthwick, when we played Ireland away in the first game of the Six Nations last year. And you've got Lee Blackett in as your attack coach. We've all watched Lee Blackett's teams attack over the last 10 years, whether it be Wasps, whether it be Bath, and they have attacking intent. That was a Steve Borthwick, these are my tactics, and he's not given Lee Blackett, in my opinion, the freedom to coach as he wants to at the minute, because we're obsessed with this, let's just go to the air and win that aerial battle because we've had rewards from it. And you look at some of the stats, right, on England, and the one that got me the most is rucks under 3 seconds. So you talk about quick ball, you talk about how Scotland play. Scotland had 36% of their rucks under 3 seconds, right? Which is a decent number. England had 55% of their rucks under 3 seconds. So you've got quick ball, you're creating quick ball. But then as a 10, we had no plan B. It was just, we're going to keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this. So George Ford needs to have responsibility put on his shoulders for not being able to flick the switch. And then, you look at some of the other stats from it. 11 handling errors from England, 7 from Scotland, 19 turnovers from England, which goes back to your point about the mistakes you're making. England had 100% scrum and line-out success. I know the line-out delivery wasn't as great as it could be, but for a 10, you've got everything you need there, but you haven't changed the way we played, and that goes down to Steve, how he's setting the team up, George Ford with his experience of not changing the game plan, and not having this attacking intent where you got Lee Blackett coaching there, which I just don't understand.
So if you're 10 points down with 15 minutes to go, your backline is Ford, Finn Smith at 12 and Freddie Stewart at 15. Now, I would want, if the game's 10-all...
What are you saying about Freddie?
Well, what I'm trying to say is, if the game is 10-all, I would want George Ford at 10 every day of the week.
I'd have Finn Smith, but yeah.
If the game is 10-all, I'd want Freddie Stewart at the back every day of the week to collect the high ball and to keep you in that game. If the game is 24-13 to Scotland, 24-10, and you need people to change the game, we've said, all of us have said, we probably don't think Marcus is good enough to start at 10 or 15 with the competition he's got. He's got some brilliant people there. But the 6-2 bench on Saturday is the absolute perfect scenario to have Marcus Smith on the bench.
Yeah. I don't know why he changed it,
to have, whether it's at 10, whether it's at 15, to have a spark. That's Marcus's super skill, creating something out of nothing, changing the pace of the game. So I felt like almost you've got to ask yourself the question, if you're finishing the game, chasing a game with Ford, Finn Smith at 12 and Freddie Stewart, and this is nothing against these guys, because I think they're world-class players and I would have them at the top of my list if it's 10-all in a World Cup semi-final to get you over the line. But a game where sometimes it just doesn't go to plan. Sometimes you can do all the good prep, the good tactics, the good video in the week, and it just falls apart. So they needed open players.
They needed a plan B, and that's what they haven't got. So obviously,
but the bench didn't allow it, did it?
No, but you've also got to adapt in the game as well, and that's it lands on the 10's shoulders, right? And the coaches on the sideline getting messages on. But obviously, we've got this kicking game, and one of the stats is we won 4 out of 14 contestable kicks, whereas in previous games we might have won 10 out of 14 contestable kicks. And then you're like, does it gloss over our attacking game not being anywhere near good enough? Did the Wales game last week, because of how bad Wales were, did it gloss over, actually England weren't that good? And we're good at winning and bullying teams, but when that isn't happening, you've got to go to a plan B, and that's where we've come up short. And I hope there's massive changes this week.
We've had a listener's question from our WhatsApp group.
Oh, yeah.
So Josh has
Hold
asked.
on, we've got all our listeners on WhatsApp.
Some of them,
Yeah,
Some of them.
I did see something pop up.
Yeah. 1,000 elite members in our WhatsApp group.
Elite.
Yeah.
That is so rugby.
The super fans.
Elitist.
But Josh has asked, Jim/Biggs, take us inside the dressing
fuck you,
room.
Josh.
Take us inside the dressing room of a nation playing England. Our coach is
Okay,
using
Josh.
that we all hate England narrative to G you up for a game, or is that a tired stereotype?
I'll take it back, Josh.
They don't need to.
Is that something that you're sort of saying amongst yourselves?
No, no.
No.
A lot of the lads actually like, and they'll say they'll like the English lads. That's the old-fashioned thing.
But it's different, isn't it? You might like them, but
Teams
it's Scotland against England, pal.
hating England. Hating's the wrong word. I just think there's this. It's almost like this social energy around. Oh, it's English. They're arrogant. They've got this. They've got that. Like number of players, and it's across all the different sports, right? So maybe he's right. But you would never say in the change room, "Oh, we hate the English."
Did you watch Braveheart the night before the Calcutta Cup?
Yeah, I'm Robert the Bruce, mate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Ryan Wilson told me actually they watched it the night before every Calcutta Cup game.
But this is where I've got a little bit. This is where I would argue against this because I grew up. I don't know what it's like to be Scottish and growing up in the Calcutta rivalry and things like that. But I can tell you what it's like as a Welshman, and it's not too dissimilar. The Wales, it's always taught as a school kid, as a young player growing up. It's like England's the biggest game. You have to beat England. You have to raise your game for England. Where this is a God's honest answer, where we were able to maybe have more success than we probably should have with what we had, was we did not, and I'm telling you categorically, we did not raise our game just for England. We didn't say, oh, we need an extra 10% here, or we have to raise it. We raised it the same for France because we literally took every game as a game. I'd have taken losing to England every single time I played against them if I meant I had another 5 Six Nations. And that's one thing, what Sean Edwards was unbelievable at. It didn't matter who we were playing. Didn't matter if we won away. I remember we won up in Murrayfield one year and he literally just shrugged his shoulders and said, well done, that's what this team does. Wins aways from home.
Yeah, for me, it is still a thing. And you lads were in the stadium and you could feel it.
Yeah.
Right? This game specifically, and my dad always said, doesn't matter if you lose to everyone and beat England, which never happened. As long as you beat England, it doesn't matter. And I actually think it's quite a cool thing.
Yeah.
That still has stood the test of time. And it always will do because they'll always have this thing, England, more money, more resources, more people, if whether or not that's a good thing or not. But also, from a sporting landscape point of view, from any other of the nations, France may be different, but you think of football and you think of rugby specifically, you think of cricket, England's just been better in recent years. And part of that is jealousy, part of that is envy, however you look at it. And the energy in the stadium when Scotland play England is different to when Scotland play France. It just is. And it's different and I like it.
Yeah, I felt that. Like, my wife asked me, she said, what was the atmosphere like? It looked amazing. I said, well, it's something I've never experienced. And she said, well, you played there 10 times. I said, but I played there in a Wales-Scotland match. I didn't play there in a England-Scotland Calcutta Cup match. So it was noticeably different. I'd say 25-30% in terms of the atmosphere and the intensity in the crowd.
I was going to save this bit for other news, but you saw the level of intensity from the players and bodies on the line and all of these different things. We've lost 3 bodies, probably for the championship now.
Who gone?
In that game?
Ritchie?
Jamie Ritchie, Jack Dempsey,
That's a
who's
big loss.
biggie,
Yeah.
and JB Dobie. Not that I'm a doctor, but it looked like it was a dislocated shoulder or an AC or something. So if he's not out for
Duan.
the tournament,
You got Duan, you got...
yeah, we have.
Darcy.
But my point is to get to that level, right? And we don't have the athletes, right? We don't have the natural big ball carriers. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. That level of physicality is because it was England. And you have to try and find that English emotion that you have going into that game for the rest of the tournament. And to lose 3 of our best players from the weekend, that's the levels that Scotland need to go to. And I'm fucking there for it and loved it.
So your excuses are coming out for later.
No, there's
in the
no
tournament
excuses.
already.
I'm just,
getting them ready.
I'm happy. I'd be surprised if we don't beat Wales, but there'd be a part of me, well, we beat England.
Italy, will they class themselves as unlucky not to win that game? Should they have won that game?
Well, they look good.
Yeah.
Let's just start with that.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the tournament, when we kind of joked about
You said
Johnny
he was pissed.
Wilkinson
We both said they're getting the wooden spoon.
and Rassi Erasmus. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised.
I think that's the influence
With-
of Biggs, having Biggs on the pod, though, because he's Welsh. We're like, we can't get too
Yeah.
hard at Wales.
Sounds about right, blame me.
And you know what? They've had 25 years to work through it. And that's not me trying to sound like a see you next Tuesday. They've had 25 years since they've been in the tournament, and it's been really poor for them. And what you're seeing now, I keep mentioning athletes, and they've been through these periods of real struggle, is you can actually see that there's something really good brewing there now. Physically, the athletes that they've got around the centres, around the pack, and we can talk about the scrum, they look tight.
Yeah.
They just look tight. They look like they've got a really good group of men. They've got a good coaching team and their skill set as well. We saw that the 2 tries they scored against Scotland. You saw at the weekend the forward pass that got brought back that Holly Davison wanted
forward.
to give. And
You reckon it's forward?
I don't. With these ones, I've.
Difficult because he keeps running as well.
Yeah.
I
It comes
think
out
it
his
is.
hands
I think it is.
And I
forward.
don't know how they judge. You know how I look at these forward passes when they are marginal like that, and it was the same one where France scored against Ireland when
yeah.
we were doing the watch along. If it doesn't make a big difference, it would like if it 2 inches forward or however many inches forward, and it is marginal, and there is this debate around it. And like Holly Davison gave that one at the weekend, and she went to the TMO,
Which is, I think, the right thing to do, by the way.
yeah. Would it have made a difference though in the try being scored? And I know that people, but rugby's grey. That's all the referees keep saying. There's so many grey areas, and that's the one maybe where you could say if that was given, then should have. Anyway, Italy are much better.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a fluke. You're now seeing it against Scotland in them conditions, the 2 tries they scored, and you saw scrum. Okay, they've got a brilliant line out.
My scrum as well.
Feel for Ty Furlong.
Yeah.
I really do.
I've seen that happen to some props, but not.
I've been in scrums like that.
Alex Marino, the prop that you were behind. And
Yeah. And-
Normally the props just blame the second rows for bailing out on them.
James Ryan hasn't bailed out on him. James Ryan has just
stood bolt upright.
Right, just lifted him higher and higher. He's taking off as a deck chair in an aeroplane.
Yeah.
That's what he's folded like a deck chair. Poor bloke, because he's obviously been a world-class player for years, but there's nothing more humbling for a prop.
Well, you become a
Than
meme.
what happened to Ty Burn
with
at the
that, that's
weekend.
the image. I don't know what the papers are doing in Ireland, but that's the image I imagine that's doing the rounds. And I feel for Ty Furlong in that moment, because that only happens if your scrum is getting hosed, not if the player
It's the whole thing.
is struggling. That's what it is. And again, you talk about how tight Italy are, and clearly they've got a very, very good scrum.
It is impressive what Italy are doing, mine, isn't it? Because, yes, you're right in what you say, Jim. It's taken a while, but it hasn't taken a while for Quesada since he's come in. Six Nations record has been really good. A couple of good scalps in the autumn. Pushed South Africa close. Should have beaten France 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In Lille with the ball
They're
fell
going
off
back
the
there next
tee.
week, aren't they?
Yeah. And
Beating
then you,
Australia in the autumn.
yeah. And you're doing this without Capuazza, Pajrello, Lucchesi, Negri. Brex didn't play on the weekend.
Yeah.
Vincent, Varney, Tommaso Allen. So all of a sudden, we keep saying about the squads that have got 2 or 3 people in each position. Well,
They've grown.
as you look at it at the minute, Italy have got a couple of players in each position, and Menoncello is, for me,
World class.
Yeah.
I mean, Toulouse need all the players they can get, don't they? At the minute,
Yeah,
they're
sign
struggling.
someone else.
But,
Sign another worldie
him
lads.
going there, but he is.
Is he signed?
I think
Yeah.
it is,
Toulouse, yeah.
So he looks, for me, just they've got the partnership between him and Brex is amazing, but he is just an X factor point of difference.
Yeah.
And I thought they were really good, well coached, and they've obviously bought in. The halfbacks I've been impressed with.
Yeah.
They've kept the game in front of the forwards and
Yeah.
not wasted energy. They've been really good in that area.
Lewis Liner as well. How good's he?
Yeah, made a
Winning
big
the ball
difference.
back. Proper international rugby winger, isn't he? Works hard, strong in the tackle, makes breaks. He's gone so well over the first 2
Well,
rounds.
he's similar to a Kyle Stain.
Yeah.
Where he's not a Louis BRA, obviously, or a Cheslin Colby where you're lighting up and everything.
Yeah.
It's like a highlight reel.
Yeah.
But internationally, in the things that you need defensively,
Perfect for the
aerial,
game.
that's
Also, they're not giving away, like, Italy of 10, 15 years ago, you'd think, you're guaranteed to get a couple of mad scores off them or stupid scores through lack of game management or just silly errors. You look at since Quesada's come in, there's not too many examples of that.
No.
They look a bit tighter. They look a little bit more.
Play some good shape as well, don't
they
they?
play some amazing shape. But they're understanding risk now.
Yeah.
So when can you take risk? If you're on the front foot, you can probably play 2, 3, 4 more phases to take risk. As soon as you lose that speed of ball, they probably aren't in a position to take any risk, and so they can turn the opposition. And you made the point that if you've got someone as good as Louis Liner in the air,
Yeah.
you don't bother kicking to the other side.
No.
You just keep finding that, and their kick strategy's been really, really good. I've liked Fusco at 9. He's been excellent, considering he's probably 3rd or 4th choice before the tournament.
I feel like they've had an issue at 9, as much as I like
Varney and Pagliarello.
But for Italy, I've always felt that their weakness just hasn't looked right around 9 and 10.
But that's what I'm saying. They've grown in that area, and I think they've got BC.
Fusco's good.
Fusco's been excellent, and they've looked in control of the team. Whereas previously, I agree with you, Jim, I think they've lacked a real bit of leadership and control.
Missing Troncon. Bring back Troncon.
I loved him. Bergamasco at 9.
Yeah, mate, I played that game.
I mean, the one argument could be around Italy is we're saying this about Scotland now, aren't we? Being like, well, they should. And I know they're much further on their journey. But if Italy, what does success look like for them?
It was successful now, isn't it? They've beaten Scotland. They've got a bonus point away to Ireland. So whatever happens now, for them,
you reckon?
Or they'll beat. On form, you expect them to beat Wales in round 5, and I'm telling you now, round 4, England go to Italy. We have never lost to Italy, and this is the best.
Imagine this happens.
There you go.
The turn of events,
and that is the best Italian team.
Sport,
that's the best Italian team we've probably ever seen in Six Nations.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk Ireland though. James Lowe, how good to see him back. He's
needed a rocket.
Mate, well,
which
he's
happens,
had it,
right?
Yeah, and he's had a load of grief around how he's playing and the fridge on his back, and he's lost a yard of pace and this and that. But his stats, he beat 9 defenders, the most in the match, 3 line breaks, most in the match, made 138 metres, ball in hand, most in the match, and 3 offloads.
And also
most
brought that edge,
Yeah.
that bit of attitude, which you can clearly see in Ireland. There's not that much confidence, and they haven't got that. And also, maybe this is what they were going to do. They were like, Bundy, can you get stuck into the ref? We'll make this big thing about it. We'll ban you for a little bit. And he comes back against England and is okay.
You can't pick Bundy against England now after the way Stuart McCluskey played the weekend. 2 try assists.
I agree. Yeah, the offload was brilliant as well.
Both of them.
But you think
you dropping Stuart McCluskey? We know his dad.
No,
pal.
I know. It doesn't matter.
The Ulster players were the best players on the pitch, probably.
Yeah, I know my mate FNL's dad, but I ain't picking him for Scotland, am I? You can't go based on that.
Is it Chukwu and Balakoon as well? Were outstanding.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Balakoon was class.
Yeah, like a young Simon Zebo when he
But
scored
he's not
that
that
try.
young, though, is he?
No.
He's not a young lad.
But he's young in international
Great
experience.
Great
Really
finish.
Big question mark, though. You can't be too harsh on Prendergast because Big Faz will come after you, but he's got to be dropped this week.
And rightly so. I actually feel really, really sorry for Prendergast because of everything that's happening alongside. It's like this sideshow, Bob, that's happening in Ireland. And you weren't on social media, Biggs, were
I was
you?
playing,
and
no.
it was all glory. And
Do you run your own social media now, or do other people do it for you?
May have 1 or 2 people. Any comments, Goody? Anything? I'll take some notes.
stick with that. Don't do it yourself. It's a fucking nightmare. But we've done it. We do it on here. And out of this podcast, people will make statements out of it, and that's what they're doing. It's the easy go-to. I actually worry for Prendergast. I'm like, how do you deal? And maybe that's part of it. Like, that's part of the expectation is in Ireland, when you play for Ireland, there's all this. It's just so negative.
I wish you boys had been saying this for the Welsh 10 jersey when I was coming through and playing.
I
It
think
would
we
have
were
been
right,
great
weren't
to
we?
have some support. No, that's what I mean. It would have been great to have had some support all along the way. But
I can go from experience here because Prendergast has obviously followed in after Sexton, Sexton was an absolute legend, right? And then there was a bit of who's playing 10. There was Frawley, there was Crowley. They won the Six Nations with Crowley 2 years ago at 10. And then Prendergast comes through and he's been pushed faster than probably his development should have allowed in terms of getting that 10 jersey and having it. And Faz has backed him and you credit Faz for that. But at some point, you're following in the footsteps of a legend, you're going to get compared to him. I had the same thing. Johnny Wilkinson was our 10, and any 10 that played after him, we spoke about it the other week, impossible job. Because no one wants you in the team. Everyone wanted Johnny Wilkinson when he was fit, and you're always going to be compared to that person. And now, Sam Prendergast, a young kid, he's had some really good games. That Scotland game you did last year, he was outstanding, wasn't he? Up in Edinburgh. And, he's had some, and then you'd have a dip in form. And 10's a tough spot. When your team aren't going well, you're not winning the game line, it's a tough spot sometimes, and he's inexperienced in understanding how to manage a game necessarily when you're not winning the game line. Front foot rugby's easy sometimes, isn't it? I looked half decent on the front foot, but it's game management and understanding that the experience he's got to learn. So I think they need to take him out of the limelight, give Crowley a go, and just say, mate, get away for a couple of weeks, then get back to Leinster and pick your tools up and go hard again.
I did like what Andy Farrell came out and said about, it's how much, like you said, Jim, how much help is everyone saying, okay, well, Johnny Sexton did this better or Crowley does this better. We're really good at picking out what people can't do instead of highlighting what they can do. And I also know, you know this, Goody, playing the first 60 minutes of a test match is completely different to when you come off the bench for 20 minutes. You've got nothing really to lose. The game's opened up a little bit. And Crowley was brilliant when he came off the bench. Added sort of zip, added a bit of directness, and he was really, really good.
Yeah.
But the last 20 minutes, it's almost like Prendergast came off the bench in the autumn and was really good. So the first 60 minutes, and in an Ireland team which aren't dominating teams in the way that they were when Johnny Sexton was playing in that team, it's not an easy gig. And it's almost like the pressure's off when you sit on the bench for 60 minutes and you come on, you've got free license. It's almost as if that starting role and that game management and the team and running the team is weighing heavier on them than their actual skill sets. They're both fabulous players in their own rights.
So should that Ireland coaching setup then be protecting him more then?
They are protecting him.
But are they though? Because someone just said there they threw him in early, maybe before he deserved that role.
Well, that's because there was the Wales thing. There wasn't a succession plan at 10 for Ireland, was there? They probably kept Sexton 2 years too long. That's what bit them in the World Cup as well.
But Goody's point is that they won the Six Nations with Crowley at
24.
10 and 24, and they were
that's a good point.
a drop goal away from winning a Grand Slam.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you're sort of like, well, actually, you had somebody who came in, and you just said it. It's hard to see when you come in for a legend. Well, Crowley did that well and delivered success straight away. So should he have been allowed more than maybe a couple of bad games? So I think this debate could run on and on and on. And I think ultimately Andy Farrell has to. And I like what he said. It's let's focus on what they can do rather than what they can do, because it's not helping either of them at the minute, because they're probably both going on the pitch thinking, okay,
do this to stay on.
Andy Goode saying this, Dan Biggar saying this. You know,
I don't reckon they're saying. I don't reckon Sam Prendergast runs onto the pitch and goes, Andy Goode said this.
but you know, it's like it's the pressure, isn't it, Jim? As
But
you
I
said.
don't look at Ireland and I don't see an issue with 10. I'm not looking at it being like, defensively maybe with Prendergast, maybe. I thought you were harsh against in the France game for him, that he missed all these tackles. Like one of them was him charging back, like trying to get a tap tackle. Anyway, that it's been and gone. But for me,
didn't say that at the time.
I did.
All right.
I did say it. I was steaming, and I said it. So I might not have said it. It isn't 10 for me. When I'm looking at Ireland, I'm looking at scrum. I'm looking at gain line. I'm looking at speed of ball. I'm looking at how they're dealing with the referee. I'm looking for that hooking, like James Lowe showed at the weekend. And then you can base your 10 of where they're going. That's what I'm looking at.
But if you watch, and Biggs, you'll get this more than anyone, if you watch Prendergast, people talk about him as a great attacking option and running. He's so pedestrian at the minute, isn't it? It's like he's walking.
Confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's confidence.
And that means that he's not been a threat at the line, and some of the plays he's not designed to be a threat at the line, but it's just very passive, which means it's easy to defend, which means that they're not winning the gain line. So it is a little bit about the 10 and his movement. You watch his movement doesn't look comfortable sometimes, does it? That's come from me.
But 12 months ago, Prendergast, you mentioned it, absolutely majestic up in Murrayfield.
Yeah.
Ran the show, played Scotland off the park, and was really good up until that France game. 12 months previous again, Crowley looked brilliant because Ireland, as you said it, Jim, Ireland had go forward. Ireland had a scrum. Ireland had these players in form. Whereas you look at the whole team at the minute, and again, I'm not having anybody, everyone in Ireland knows that this team is not where it was 2 years ago. Jameson Gibson Park looks half the player he was pre-Lions. So you think, right, 9 and 10 is a savage position if your team are not going well. And it's always the guys that come off the bench that tend to look a little bit better. And then there's a big cry for them to start the following week. So I couldn't agree more with what you said, Jim. It's when the team was going forward and playing really good rugby, Jack Crowley was excellent. Same with Sam Prendergast. At the minute, they're in a really sticky point, aren't they? They don't look fluid. They look like everything's a bit of a battle.
Hard work.
and they're missing a lot of key players. That's a huge thing as well.
Ireland are still trying to play this game that got them to where it got them 2 years ago. And England, when they were rebuilding, went to that kicking game and they went back to the basics and all of these things. I'm watching Ireland and they're still trying to be that Ireland team. It feels like it needs to be, and I ain't a fucking coach. I'm passing judgment. I'm looking at it. It feels like it just needs to be completely stripped back again.
And go for what, James?
The basics. Go back to
Kickers and balls.
Yeah, go back to a more simpler game plan. Maybe play
They do have some intricate plays.
more when you get close to the try line.
They've got a load of intricate plays where everyone needs to know where they are, and it's an Andy Farrell coach thing, isn't it? It ain't clicking at the minute. But don't write them off this week.
I was just say, big game at Allianz Stadium this week.
Yeah.
Whoever loses is going to be under a fair bit
Well,
of pressure.
it's like a quarter final, isn't it? Effectively, this weekend. So whoever loses this weekend between England and Ireland are out of the competition in terms of winning the Six Nations.
Well then, everyone, the Rugby World Cup pool matches and dates have been announced. The knockouts are mapped out. We're not going to talk about Scotland's horrible pool again, but Australia 2027, it is on. How's England's route looking, Andrew? I know the answer.
Well, if things pan out for us, James, we'll smash Wales in the group stage. It'll be an England versus Australia quarter-final. How good would that be? England versus Ireland, or maybe Scotland after they dominated us in the Six Nations in the semi-final. And then we'll just take on the box in the final and beat Razzie and the boys. Come on, England!
There's a few big ifs there, Goody. I got to be honest. Wales will be back in form by then, hopefully.
Will they?
The World Cup after, maybe.
Yeah.
And then have something to say about it in that group game and to finish. Either way, if you want to sort out your tickets, now's the time. And Gulliver's are an official Rugby World Cup agent, so they've got access to all the best ticket packages for the tournament. This is their 10th Rugby World Cup, so they know what they're doing and have some unbelievable experiences around Australia.
Yes, they do, Biggs. Good people there. So head over to gulliverstravel.co.uk and sign up to their rugby newsletter for all the details and check out their ticket and match packages because it's going to be one hell of a World Cup and it's coming home.
This Six Nations, we're teaming up with Vodafone, the nation's network and proud partner of Welsh Rugby, to bring fans closer to the game. We'll be doing a massive Rugby Pod live show in Cardiff with some Welsh legends, past and present. We have 90 Six Nations match tickets to give away on the pod for Wales versus Scotland men's and women's. And I'm going to be taking some fans behind the scenes at Principality Stadium with me for a private tour. We want Welsh fans to send us in your inspiring stories. Who deserves the match tickets? So fans who've done something special, have overcome challenges, or have given back to the community. You can also register at ticketpass.org to get tickets to the Cardiff live event with myself, Big Jim, Warren Gatlin, Philippa Tuttiett, and Jack Morgan. And a massive thanks to Vodafone for helping us bring fans closer to the game.
Can anyone stop France? Have you seen any cracks in their play?
Difficult. They were on a different planet yesterday. It's hard to judge them completely because they were playing Wales, and Wales showed some ticker. It was, Jalibert, the way he's fitted back into the system, how they're attacking him. You lose your two centres. Bro Barry comes in and plays unbelievably well on his debut. He's a big unit. Gaitan.
How good's his English? Galton, better than ours.
Born in England.
Ooh.
Born in Croydon.
Great.
Yeah,
That's
he's English.
Great knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's what happens presenting on Premier Sports yesterday, wouldn't I? Ultimately, this French team, I asked the question yesterday, are there any weaknesses? No. Like, Sean Edwards has gone in there, and Sean Edwards was raging after the game still that they conceded 2 tries. But the one thing you could probably flip at a French team in years gone by is sometimes they're just French and don't fancy it or turn up. The culture that he has gone in with and created, and we all know him here. A few of us have been coached by him or whatever. You understand that what he demands, and that's something that Fabien Gautier's added to the coaching group because he knows there was a weakness there. The talent, Olivon in the second row. He's a back row, and he's in the second row.
To the back row, then back into the second row.
They played with 5 back rowers.
Yeah, you got Guillard, and then you bring Mofo Miafu on.
It is crazy to watch how good they are.
Yeah.
And commentating at the game and getting that bird's eye view and the way they move. And why would Wales have the roof closed to play against France?
So this is what I was going to ask and touch on for this weekend. They've done a a deal with the Six Nations so that because there's been so many times of this, the away team that decided if the roof was shut. So they've done a deal where they've said for atmosphere and to end the drama of Roofgate and is it the away team or the home team that chooses? They've just said it's going to be closed. Now, if I'm Wales this weekend, I'm doing everything I can. I've seen it. The weather looks like maybe showers on the weekend, but I would be saying that there's a problem with that roof and that we can't shut it.
Break the bottom.
And you get
up there holding it closed.
But also as well, what they've done, what they've invested in at the stadium is they've got like these dryers. Because when the roof's shut, it can get quite greasy and condensation. Yeah. They got now all of a sudden the away teams come in and it's like, we'll dry the pitch for you as well. So we're playing France and Scotland, two of the best sort of ball movement teams. And I said, I was thinking last night, from a Welsh point of view, what we saw with France and how well they moved the ball and what we saw with the dry ball at Murrayfield, which Scotland would you want to play if you're Wales? The one that played in the rain? And admittedly, it's not going to be quite like Rome.
100%.
But who would you rather play?
Call it off, Jim.
Do you want to have home advantage and make it as difficult for Scotland with some showers and maybe, not dry the pitch as much? Or do you want to play the Scotland with a dry ball that played up in Murrayfield?
And that being in the stadium, it was like the sheep's going to slaughter when you saw it.
The sheep.
The lambs.
Right. So, and to watch them move the ball, and they weren't out of second gear. Right, and they got from the halfway line, trying to find the edge early on. When the ball goes in the air and BLBRA goes to the ball and Atasogbe, they're all in the kind of same. He is a freak. No one can Penno this, Penno that. Look at Uni's Penno now. This lad is a freak. And you see the ball go up in the air and you're like, if they catch this or if they get the crump, they're going wide and the ball is sticking.
You just expect them to try.
And it was impossible for Wales. And I tweeted after the game because I felt not obliged to. I felt sorry for the lads. I don't want that to sound belittling because I was chatting to Sam Warburton. I said, what does success look like, businessman, for this game? And we both kind of agreed that
under 50?
If you can keep it around 50, that's good.
Yeah.
It felt like that could have been 70 or 80 points if France kind of went through the gears. But just from a rugby fan perspective, and you're watching this French team with these players that we didn't really know much about, and you're like, holy smokeroos.
Yeah. I've seen a fair bit of them in the top 14. I'm sure you have as well, Biggs. And in the Champions Cup, Gaetan and Beaubarry are proper freak athletes. And you go through the whole team. Ramos was so good at 15. He ends up sometimes at 10, then putting Jalibert in that outside channel. Jalibert was just ridiculous.
I thought they did that really well on the weekend. They almost played like a four-man shape. Yeah. So it goes across all of them. And what they had, the twice they had Ramos at first receiver, as you said, Goode. And because of Jalibert's pace and footwork, they had him just taking it off the shoulder ball, off the fourth forward. And most people play 3 and 3. France had 4 forwards, tightened Wales up, and then used Jalibert's speed to get on the outside. So that what it shows as well is that they're thinking their way through games, not just relying on skill and flair and speed. So I just thought that shape was a really good example.
What does that shape do, Big? So that fourth man, is that taking out the edge of that?
Because there's normally a disconnect between the last but one defender and the winger. What it does is everybody's angles from Wales as a defensive point of view is angling in. So as soon as you angle in, all Jalibert needs is when it gets dropped off to him, he just needs somebody turned in for half a yard to use his pace on the outside. And I think it was for Boisbarry's try where he popped it back on the inside. Yeah. Just a really good example of well coached. And you said it, the word I would describe this French team, and probably not so much yesterday because it was relatively easy and the offloads that they kept the ball alive.
Some of the offloads. You see Ramos's offload to Boisbarry for Atasogbe's try.
Ridiculous. But they
have that power.
Mate, knowing any when he comes on, there was
the one word I would never normally describe a French team is disciplined.
Yeah, they are.
And since Sean Edwards has gone in there, each season on season, he's made them more and more disciplined, and he's made them not just think it's okay to do this, the pop over the top or the offload or the tries. It's counter-rucking, rips in the tackle, defence, line speed. You said Goode was furious that they conceded 2. So the mindset isn't now we'll win 54-25.
Yeah.
It's we want to win 28-3.
Yeah, he did an interview before the game, Sean Edwards, and they asked him, do you feel a bit sorry for the Welsh? You've obviously been a big part of Wales' history. He was like, well, hopefully they get better tomorrow. I didn't give a fuck at all. Like,
Yeah, it is hard.
He's a ruthless man, eh?
But I think as well, like Wales, just touching on Wales, we questioned Wales a lot, and everybody did, and rightly so last week, because there was very little, if anything, to be positive about last week because they shot themselves in the foot so many times. This week, if you're looking for positives, they improved the discipline.
Wainwright was
excellent.
Yeah.
Eddie James, I thought, got his hands on the ball a lot more, looked more of a threat.
And
the set
Ismail looked
piece,
good in the air as well.
Yeah. And the set piece was actually solid.
Yeah.
And I know that probably France playing 5-back rowers doesn't maybe allow them to dominate teams as much as if you've got Flamand or Miafu with Antonio, who's obviously had his issues. Probably doesn't allow you to dominate the game from a set-piece scrum point of view as much. But what it gives you, I mean, Olivon, he looks as quick as a centre.
Yeah, when he made a break once,
He's one
just
of my
going away
favourite
from
players.
people.
Looks like me a little bit.
Same
Just a little
jawline.
bit. Same jawline.
I'll tell you what it was like you. And Wales.
Oh, here we go.
I thought of you
Here we
actually.
go.
I did when I saw this. I thought of you. But Wales, obviously, in the first half, it went bang bang, few tries for France, and it's like, oh, this could be 80. Then they get back into the game, 19-7. Carré scores, doesn't he? And they showed you knew what was going to happen. You knew at some point France were going to score more and more tries.
You just hope you'd see a heartbeat.
Yeah, and you did. And then Adam Beard puts a kick through, which I'm like, that's Jim Hamilton. Did you see Adam Beard's kick?
When have I ever kicked at the ball like that?
You kicked someone in the head.
The
probably,
coach killer.
yeah.
That was the one for me, and I felt so sorry for him and the team because
saw Steve's reaction.
yeah, you saw Steve's
and
reaction.
they
You
pick
saw
it up,
thing.
and Jalibert gets the bonus point try just before half time. And the sticks. You're like, oh.
I think the one thing I would say from a Welsh point of view, right, Wales are not going to be judged ultimately by their results against England and France. The fixtures haven't been kind to them in the opening couple of rounds. But, and as we've said it, Scotland were magnificent on the weekend. But Wales will be judged more on this weekend's game and the home game against, or probably the next three.
Yeah.
Scotland home, Ireland away, and Italy at home. Those are the games where Wales will be properly judged. And has there been progress? Because what you can't keep doing, and the teams they're playing are brilliant, but you can't keep losing 54-7, 56-29 or whatever. You know, you can't.
Yeah, it was 70 against
yeah,
Africa
70
as well.
against like teams have come to the Principality and are walking away with record wins in the last 12 months. England, Argentina.
It wasn't their biggest ever Six Nations defeat. It nearly was. England hold that record against Wales.
So what I'm trying to say is they should be judged differently when they play Scotland at home, Italy at home, and probably Ireland away at the minute.
Yeah, aside from the Japan game, which they won, who were the two teams before that? So it was the All Blacks?
All Blacks, Argentina.
So All Blacks, Argentina, England.
South Africa as well.
Yes, I mean,
so
and that's the thing where you saw.
So you can't keep losing like that.
Yeah, you can't keep losing like that, I don't know, because if you looked at the England game, you'd be like, there. But then I did see enough to think, actually, if they can get through the gears, they can be tight, they can get the kicking game, they've got a good set piece. The line-out was very good against a really good French line-out.
You can't, I thought Sam Warburton spoke really well yesterday. You can't keep knocking this team because...
You know?
What again, like Andy Farrell said about the 10 situation, what is that actually achieving? Wales aren't a threat to England at the minute. Wales aren't a threat to France at the minute. So you have to... Actually, everybody needs, I think, rugby is too small and hasn't got enough strong nations for Wales to be as poor as they are at the minute. And I'm not saying any English or Scottish people want them beating England and Wales.
No, I agree. But the problem is it's a Welsh problem, isn't it? Like, no one else can help it. And and it's going to take time, and you've got to be honest of what you see in front of you. And
I don't mean calling as you see it. I mean in terms of like, well, at some point there has to be a flip of, okay, well, what went well? And we're sitting here saying, well, 54-12 against France isn't the worst thing, which is
could have
not
been 80.
great. But you think, okay, discipline, Eddie James, Wainwright, set piece.
Yeah,
they were okay on the weekend.
Yeah, they need to try and find a way of getting the ball in Lewis Rees-Sammet's hands. You can see he was fuming.
Yeah.
And he's come back to light up the joint, hasn't he, as well. What I found really sad, quite damning, a little bit depressing, but also made me feel a bit sorry for them, was the BBC interview where Sonia McLaughlin goes out and she's interviewing some of the crowd. It's on the BBC social, and some of them are crying.
Yeah.
That's how important the sport is to the country and the nation. And Abby Tierney popped up on screen and Dave Reddin. And I'm not saying it lies at their door, but they're the ones that have to fix it. But when you're looking at it and you're commentating on it, I don't know if I told you I'm commentating, and you look at the state of the top 14 compared to the state of what they're going through, I actually think the players out there gave the very best version physically and mentally as they could. And there was a few brain farts, had a bit like you're in them high stressed environments where you are under complete stress against one of the best teams in the world. I was just watching it. I was like, actually, fucking fair play to you.
Yeah.
Like, fair play. You're putting your head in there. Eddie
Show some
James,
ticker, as
he
Goode
shows
said.
some ticker and you go for it. What more can you ask of them?
And the other problem is there was 17,500 spare seats. The tickets didn't get
Again,
sold.
nothing to do with like the players. But
But
it's
you've got to find a way of connecting the public again with the WRU. It's not the players. It's the issues with the WRU and what they're doing and have done to the game and how it's being
loads
run.
of different things.
Yeah.
And that's where the difference is. Like Scotland lose to England, you can see the energy just completely draining. But they've got their house in order. It's a double whammy. It's chaos on the pitch and it's anarchy off the pitch.
To finish on that, France were on a different planet yesterday.
Right, lads. In other news! Thank you, Daniel.
I should do it in a
Thank
Scottish
you.
accent. How
Go
do you
on
do it
then.
in a Scottish accent?
I don't know. It's a hard one. That's a hard one. In other news.
In other news,
How you doing, pal? In other news, what have we got? A few injuries in the Scotland team. I mentioned it there. Jack Dempsey, not been confirmed. Jamie Ritchie, not been confirmed, but I can confirm it because it didn't look great. Jamie Doby as well.
PhD, Jim.
So, yeah, PhD, Pisshead Dave, Pisshead Doctor, which is a real shame to see how they come back through that. So here's one we haven't touched on, but we've spoken about Wales.
Yeah.
We walked past the great Warren Gatland gate. Some people were trying to pull it down like it was his fault, even though he told them 5 years ago, unless there's a succession plan, you've got to have chaos around the corner. And he was right. Anyway.
But he was part of the not having a succession plan in Wales.
I think that he went to Wales and said you need problem maker as opposed to solver.
Yeah.
You need to do this. Anyway, Quins, Warren Gatland.
Yeah, boy.
I don't like rumours, so in the green room I said to Rob, allegedly, this one's yours. You can say
What do you know, Rob?
Allegedly.
2, please
Quins.
don't do it.
Allegedly,
Please
it's a
don't.
done deal.
Gats, don't do it.
Warren Gatland to Harlequins
Regulate.
with his Wasps background. He hadn't got a job, has he? So I think he'll do a wonderful, wonderful job there. He'll change the dynamic of that club because they're too soft, they're too Quinsy, and he won't stand for it.
Imagine this. Warren Gatland,
Warren G.
Sean Edwards.
Regulate.
They were at Wasps. They're now at Hearts.
Sean
Sean Edwards ain't going to
leaving
Quins.
He ain't leaving that French team,
No, he's not. But yeah, that'd be good for the Prem.
Just working
Warren
out
Gatland.
the pound sterling.
This one isn't allegedly. It happened and it was facts. Holly Davidson became the first female to referee a Six Nations match in Ireland's win over Italy, and I thought she did very well. And I thought Michele Lamaro, fair play to him, when they were questioned about her performance. I don't know whether there was a undertone of the forward pass or whatever, spoke like a gentleman about her, which I thought was really cool. And Holly is a lovely woman as well. Not that all the refs are lovely men, I'm sure, and that they're not all great as well.
Some of the lads are,
What?
they're good lads, and they're good lads.
Oh, they're good lads and they're good lads.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well,
Some are better than others.
Well, yeah, some better than
You mean,
others.
anyway, well, everything you hear around Holly, and I've had a few interactions with her, have been brilliant. So that is not an easy gig. One, to do a Six Nations game, right? And one, to manage men.
Yeah. But isn't it great how
Effectively.
we just praising her for doing her job, not talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
anything else around it?
Yeah.
Just,
Job,
just
do
saying,
your
just saying
job.
she refereed the game well.
And
on the
that's what I
weekend.
mean. And she's been
Refs
given
were
the
good this
opportunities
weekend.
to do that. And you
Amisha
know,
Kelly was good as well. Refs
Amish
were
Kelly-
good this weekend.
Yeah, they were actually. I thought Ben O'Keefe was Ben. What was Ben O'Keefe?
James
Was that
Dolman.
last week? James Dolman. Sorry, I was
Mate,
on
I
the
thought
game.
you commentated on the
I
game.
commentated on the game. I
He
should
looked-
know.
I looked at James Dolman before the game.
Do you know
right?
where he was born, James Dolman?
Where?
Hong Kong.
Was he?
He's from Hong Kong.
Right,
Loose.
James Dolman.
Dad's loose.
I looked at him yesterday. He's warming up, and I was like, he looks $1 million. He's got a tan because he's obviously come from the Southern Hemisphere.
Doesn't he,
hasn't
Dan?
And you're like, he's just had a summer. He looks great. Refereed well. Sharp.
Well, you said the refs were good on the weekend. What isn't good is Joey Carberry's knee.
No.
Ruptured his ACL this
ACL.
weekend for Bordeaux against Cast.
Yeah,
and
that's a shocker.
allegedly, he'd signed for Leinster as well. Allegedly.
So if that happens, he would have played his last game for
Bordeaux.
Yeah.
That's a real shit. I'm a big Joey Carberry fan. I know Leicester were looking at him.
He's gone down really well in France as well in terms
Has
of
he? Does he want to come back to play for Ireland? Is this
No,
why? Was that his
it's
thinking?
end of career stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
Coming back
I'm not
is
sure the
tax.
ins and outs, but I know that he's been really popular in amongst the Bordeaux squad, fitted in well, hasn't sort of complained, knows he's second fiddle to Jalibert and plays the tough away games when Jalibert fancies a feet up weekend on the sofa. But
Yeah, real shame. Yeah, big fan of Joey Carberry. Also a big fan of this player that's been rumoured, which is a little bit
not
bizarre
rumoured.
for me.
It's not rumoured.
Is it
Confirmed.
agreed?
Announced,
Yeah. All Black Dalton Papali'i he signed for Cass of all
Yep.
things and places. Lovely spot close to Toulouse.
No, Cast is not a lovely spot.
Well, you live in Toulouse if you want.
They don't
I
allow
like Cass
you.
when I've been. They don't
Cast
allow you.
is
You're not
horrible.
allowed.
Cast is horrible.
Is it?
One more, France.
What?
They've leapfrogging England
Is that other news?
in
then?
the world rankings.
Oh gosh, these world ranking things, world rugby, fuck up. They got a lot of work to do. Yeah, so in other news,
right, time for the smartest call of the week, brought to you by our mates at Go.Compare, because making the smart decision is their thing. And Jim, your honour this week, mate.
the smartest call of the week, and it was a ballsy call because I saw Blenkinghorn with his kit bags leaving the Scotland camp and thought, what,
Toulouse,
are
pal.
you not involved?
He's played for Toulouse.
Put it all over social media that he's back in Toulouse, he's leaving, just to let everyone know that he hasn't been picked. And there was a big part of me that thought, wow, Gregor Townsend is doubling down on the back three that got a lot of criticism against Italy. And for me, and as we know now, having seen the game, it was a smart call to stick with Jamie Dobby on the left wing, who I thought was incredible. Carl Steyn, you know my thoughts on him. And we didn't really mention Tom Jordan, but I thought he looked very good throughout the game as well and had a brilliant game. So, yeah, easy for me to say, amongst all the chaos in Scotland, that the smartest call of the week was Gregor Townsend sticking to his guns.
Very nice, James. And if you want to make a smart call of your own, head to Go.Compare and see how much you could save on your insurance.
Right, should we finish things off with the good, the bad and the ugly?
Yeah, loads of good this week. Are we sponsored this week by Moreland Brawl,
No, we're
James?
not,
Are
mate.
you down week?
Tough in the Hamilton household last
Yeah, it
week,
was.
so a bit of emotion to get over. Thanks for the message, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, the Goode Super Rugby was back this weekend with wins for the Highlanders, the Waratahs, Moana Pacifica, the Chiefs, who won away at the Blues. That was a big victory. And the Brumbies as well. So big shout out to all the Super Rugby teams back in action and winning this weekend. Juta Vainicolo gets a big shout out from the top 14. He scored a hat-trick in the first 8 minutes for Leon at the weekend. And he scored 4 tries in total after 17 minutes. How good.
Islander.
Yeah.
So good.
He's a hell of a player.
Not an inch of fat on him either. Absolutely ripped to shreds.
Good.
Like,
How do you
me and
feel?
you.
Yeah.
Like me and you, Jim.
Mate, don't bring me into being good.
All right, noodle arms. What else was good? France, sticking in the France theme, putting 54 points on Wales, playing rugby from another planet. Atisogby got a hat-trick. Jalibanta was on fire. Outstanding work from the French boys. The Ulster boys, they're going to get a shout-out for Ireland. Not Ulster as a club, but the 3 Ulster
Yes.
boys that went really well. Stu McCluskey at 12, 2 try assists with NFL-style throw for one of them to Balakoon, his mate, who scored the try. He gets a mention as well. And Izzy Chukwu as well. He was outstanding
Very good.
in the back row. Also, the Italian scrum gets a shout-out. Poor old Tig Furlong. But we'll give a shout-out to the Italian scrum who hosed them. Both sets of front rowers, Ferrari and all the boys that came off the bench as well. But the Goode this week can only go to one country, one team, one coach, one set of players, one James Hamilton and his Scottish army. Scotland are going to win the Goode this week. Their cup final was won, the Calcutta Cup. Gregor got everything right. Finn had a worldie of a performance at 10. Hugh Jones was outstanding at 13. Rory Darge, Carl Steyn, the list goes on. You won your cup final, lads. Well done. It was a great day up in Edinburgh. Tough journey back. But to everyone in Scotland, you deserve the victory comfortably. And the Calcutta Cup is back up north. So that's why Scotland and you all win the Goode. And James is just smiling.
You've got to back it up now, though.
Oh, hang on, Rob.
Let them settle for
hang
a
on.
week.
Hang on. Let it breathe. It's the Goode.
The bad, few bits of bad. I mentioned Super Rugby earlier. The Western Force, also now known just as the Force, they took 56 points.
Hang on, they dropped the Western.
Yeah, they're just Force now.
What have they moved
I
from the
don't
West?
know. No, they're still there, but it's just a force.
I'd probably spend
Anyway.
a fortune on rebrand.
Yeah, they took 56 points at home versus the Brumbies. Montauban took 73 points at Lyon. Toulon got hosed at home, 34-14. I've heard, and it was against Clermont, so Pierre Mignoni's old club. He might be walking out.
Is that enough?
I mean, apparently he's
How do you
clipped
say
balls down.
how do you say he's no hearing it in French?
He's not what?
He's not having it.
Oh, c'est pas bon ça.
C'est pas bon, yeah, he's simple. C'est pas bon.
I didn't know what you said in English to start with. Then.
Scottish. He's no hearing it. He's no hearing it.
So, yeah, what else was bad? Wales taking 54 points against France. 13 Six Nations losses on the spin, that is. A triple wooden spoon on the spin is coming. Like your era, Jim.
No.
Okay. But the bad this week has to go to my England team. Outclassed, outworked, outthought. No plan B. Steve Borthwick and George Ford and the England team. You're going to get the bad this week. Happy with that, Jim?
Bit harsh on George Ford, but yeah.
The ugly, only one bit of ugly this week, actually. Gibson Popoliti. Right?
Is that Dalton's bro?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
but it's
Niche name.
Popoliti, this one.
Oh, okay.
And
Papali.
Papoliti, yeah. Anyway, Gibson Popoliti making his debut for Montauban in the top 14, a minute and a half into the game. Takes Sam Simmons' head off, shoulders to the head, straight red card. That's your debut. It's lasted 90 seconds.
Hates the English.
Can only get up for it for the English. I guess the English.
So, Gibson Popoliti, that's where you get the ugly this week.
Couple of shout outs to finish.
Yeah, massive shout out to Connor Smith, one of the loosest gooses around, who's doing an incredible 1,000 kilometre run from Brisbane to Sydney in June 2026, raising money for Children's Hospital Foundation. He's already raised $6,000, but he's pushing to try and get to 10,000. So if you want to follow his journey and donate, you can find him on Instagram as Highland Grit.
You did a similar thing, Rob, didn't
Yeah,
you?
we
When
did
you
the
went,
same run, yeah.
Didn't you get pulled
No.
into the van a few times?
No, Rob didn't run. Rob walked about half a day.
I'm not having
How
this.
hard is that?
Oh,
that he's doing?
It's a disgrace.
And we nearly got fucking beaten up by the kangaroos, man.
Dead snakes, man.
The hardest bit of that route is you running down motorways, basically.
They were fucking
You
these.
thought you were going to see more.
I thought I was been running down beaches and
Australia.
it'd be like, you know, like...
But you're running
Australian-
inland, aren't you? Or not? You're running on the
Well, I didn't
coast.
fucking look at
Was
the
it-
map, did I, when I signed up for
Why
it? I
would
just
you
said I would
not
do
go?
it.
What is
To be
this
fair, he
about?
spent 48
I can't
hours in
do it.
Australia. It was-
It's like
Who
me
goes to Australia for 2 days?
Mate, my mate Kovskins, right? My mate, the Kovskins,
It's
they
always
won
Kovskin.
£5,000 on the lottery on a scratch card, and they won $5,000, and they flew to Australia for New Year's Eve, and both of them were asleep on the boat. They were that fucked. That goes under the Sydney Harbour Bridge as the fireworks were going off. Spent all the money. Anyway, and they bought themselves a pair of Timberlands each.
There we go. Timber goes.
Yeah.
Money well spent.
Anyway, this one's on me. Shout out to Aubrey. I think his name's Aubrey. I forgot his surname. His dad was absolutely steaming. Who is 9 years old and listens to the show, which I thought was very loose, from the under-10s at Watsonians in Edinburgh. And I said to his dad, how is he listening to the show? And he said, oh, we're military, aren't we? I'm a squaddy. I said, well, that's fine then, because you are a bit rogue. So big shout out to Aubrey from the under-10s at Watsonians. Probably a little bit loose for you. And there is an E for explicit on all of the stuff that we put out there, isn't there, Rob?
Is there?
Oh,
Yeah.
right, there should
So
be.
there is
Should
now.
be.
That covers us.
There should be, yeah, it does.
All right, and this Friday on the 20th of February, Chiswick Rugby is hosting a game between themselves and Looseheads RFC, supporting grassroots rugby, community and mental health awareness. All hosted by the rugby trainer, Ben John. Used to play with Ben at the Ospreys.
Good shape, him.
Yeah, in very good shape.
Hell of a schnoz on him as well.
With guest coaches Matt Dawson and Max Laheath. No
Legend.
ticket required, and it's set to be a fantastic evening.
Yeah, a couple of sad ones now to finish as well. A massive shout out to Moira Black from Hoyk Linden RFC, who sadly passed away last week. Moira was the heartbeat of the club for over 40 years, feeding generations of players, volunteers and fans, and was everything that makes grassroots rugby so special. So from all of us at the Rugby Pod, we send our very best to her family, her friends and everyone at Hoyk Linden RFC.
Yeah, another really sad one, unfortunately. Sending our thoughts to everyone at Lantristant RFC following the terrible news of Jake Reese's passing. A wonderful young man who will be sorely missed. So we're sending our deepest sympathies, of course, to Jake's family and everyone at the rugby club. #Wayne13.
Thanks, lads.
Thanks, guys. Scotland.
Scotland.
How,
team.
lads,
Hey,
how good is the fucking Six Nations?
It's great.
So good.
It is so good. So good. So good.
More importantly, a couple of live shows this week.
Oh, we have.
I'm thirsty.
Thirsty.
Oh, I am.
Are we
Rob, you
thirsty?
coming down?
I'm coming to the both.
We've got a big guest on Wednesday, Big Zeebs, coming
Yeah.
to the stunning 12th Knot rooftop bar at Sea Containers with GHA Discovery. So I'm thirsty. Guinness and Black. Let's go.
Are you at that one, Biggs?
I am indeed, yeah. And I'm at the one,
So you're at the one London and
London and Cardiff.
on
Busy
Thursday.
week.
Yeah, busy week. Looking forward to it. Obviously on Cloud 9. In our lads. Hey, Sluggans, we've not even mentioned
Last
you.
week he was like,
Hey,
I ain't
Slugger.
bothered. I ain't bothered with lost to it. I ain't bothered. I ain't bothered.
Not bothered.
This week, King of the World. So
I'm
Scottish.
so happy.
So
I am
Scottish.
so happy in what's been a tough week in the
This is
Hamilton
your year,
household.
James.
So, yeah, it's
This is your
made
year.
my week. It's our fucking year, lads. Come on. Rugby Spod.
Spotted pod.